surprised to see Geraint Thomas cracking. Over the top of the climb, though, I would expect to see Geraint Thomas recover on the descent and get himself back into contact.
Well, this was a cruel way to start the third day in the Alps. 200 metres after the flag was pulled in, that was the situation, the attacks came. Now Geraint Thomas has got time to rejoin on the way down. We go for a 30-kilometre jaunt along the valleys, and so we're seeing here Kruijswijk have a little move now, and Valverde also is a great descender, but it's a long valley road, and this is behind Kruijswijk at the moment.
Well, he's made the little move really, Phil, just to get himself up towards the front of the line so that he can negotiate his way around these corners. Now, the dangerous thing now is, although it's not actually raining, there are a few damp areas on the descent, especially when you get round to the tree and the forested area, so they need to be very, very careful with this slight amount of moisture over the surface. Again, once more, the Tour de France, whenever it comes into town, they very often put a new surface on the road, which makes it even more precarious.
So on the way down, very narrow descent, this one as well.
Yeah, we're just looking there. Valverde, I think, just wanted to be comfortable. Vincenzo Nibali, they're not making too much of an aggressive descent down here currently. Vincenzo Nibali's third. Looking a bit further back, Purito, Joaquim Rodriguez will be quite happy with the 10 points that he's just grabbed in, so now he'll be leading by 10 points ahead of Romain Bardet, who moved up to equal on points with him yesterday. Stefan Kruijswijk, the Lotto Jumbo rider, he's picking his way around. You can just see they are going down this descent a little bit precariously, just because of that slight bit of moisture which came from the nasty little mountain storm that came through here a few moments ago. In fact, on the finishing line, it's clear blue skies, a brilliant sunshine, and around about 24 degrees Celsius. But out there, it's a different ball game. Valverde, they're all nervous, and now I'm having a quick look. Wouter Poels has recovered. Now this, as we look back down there, I'm looking to see if I can spot another black and blue jersey there of Geraint Thomas coming back. You know, Geraint Thomas is a pretty good bike handler, and they're not really hitting it hard here, Phil. I think because of the fact that they know around one or two of these corners there is that dampness, which makes it scary. Yeah, it is. The rain has stopped, but the road is wet. Oh, and that proves it, because that going off was Van Baarle, the new man on the Cannondale Garmin team, as he rides his first Tour de France. Yeah, just watch it, you know, he just came into the corner. I think he was trying to take a couple of risks to get himself back onto the line of the riders in front, and he ran out of road. And it is, again, as we mentioned earlier, Phil, the road has been resurfaced, and it's very smooth, and you throw a bit of moisture on there, well, it's almost like an ice rink.
Well, the order over the top, Rodriguez, Kruijswijk, Sika, and the sixth man over, by the way, was the word of the King of the Mountains in the first week, Tekla Heimenot. And so he got a point there. But as far as Rodriguez is concerned, he moves clear of the rest now, and they're coming down this road very precariously indeed. I don't blame them.
Well, I'm surprised to see, you very rarely see a group of riders queuing up into a corner like that, but they're all maybe just going a little bit too fast. But Kruijswijk here looking quite comfortable, but he's not taking any risks. You see he's just pushing his button there. That's the push to talk button on his radio to get some information from his team management behind.
Long descent this, going right down to Apierre, which is where the sprint is for the day, and then we start steadily along the valley for a little while before we start climbing the next mountain, which will take us onto the slopes of the hors category Croix de Fer.
There was a lot of riders in difficulty on that early ascent there, Phil. I noticed Serge Pauwels, the MTN Quebecer rider, he was having difficulty. So too was Sammy Sanchez, the Olympic champion from Beijing, and he was left behind. He's 15th overall at the start of the day, but it just seems, the French have an expression, it's a very interesting expression, les fourmis dans les jambes, which means you've got ants in your legs, and that seems to me as if Alejandro Valverde has got that today, because he's looking, well, I think all of a sudden, Rodriguez here putting his hand out, he's just, yeah, he's telling everybody it's dangerous.
Now we're hearing that the Thomas group, which also includes the Warren Barguil, is 35 seconds behind, so they're closing in as they continue to descend very cautiously down this mountain. Peloton is reforming.
Yeah, there's a lot more riders starting to get back on. I think it's because of this rather nasty moisture on the surface. Rigoberto Urán has also recovered, and he's back with the group. Well, what a start to the race. Bear in mind that so far we've covered the massive distance of 24 kilometers. That means we're still looking at 120 kilometers to go to the finish. There's a lot of racing left and a lot of climbing left on today's stage. Looks like Roman Kreuziger. Now Froome has decided he's going to the front. He is pretty good bike handler. A lot of people criticize his bike handling ability because he looks a bit gangly on the machine, but really he's got a great background. He's ridden plenty of mountain bike races. He's ridden some cyclocross, and he's come up to that group very, very quickly. I think this is he's just seen the move, and this is Bardet now. Bardet, the winner of yesterday's stage, he is a good descender. He's seen this as an opportunity and he's responding. Now Rigobert Urán, he was third on the stage up to Pralou a couple of days ago, and Romain Bardet has seen this as an opportunity, but once they get down this descent they've got quite a bit of flat.
Well, they continue to take great caution at coming down the mountains, and I don't blame them. This road is wet. It's drying out a bit now. They
did take caution just for a little while, but now all of a sudden Rigobert Urán, the Colombian rider on Ethics Quickstep, he said he's enjoying this. He likes the conditions. He's going to see if he can open up a gap before we get to the bottom of the climb. And the rider who won the stage yesterday for France, Romain Bardet, he's also gone out on the attack.
Yes, well, he is proving to be an ace descender here. This is at the front is Rigobert Urán, and yesterday's winner is coming across. And apparently, Paul, you told me that Bardet has been practicing cornering on the Silverstone motor racing circuit in the UK.
Just learning how to handle the corners, to line himself up for the corners, and I think we've seen that is working out fairly well for him. And I think he was taking a page out of the book of Thibaut Pinot, who actually moved on the Paul Ricard motor racing circuit in the southern part of France, just to know how to line up, how to control yourself going around the corners. And I don't think Rigobert Urán has been on either of those racing circuits, but he's going around these corners without very much fear at all.
Well, after yesterday's efforts, Bardet has become the best French rider in the Tour de France, sitting in 10th place now, but only 16 seconds ahead of Warren Barguil, who is currently trying to rejoin the peloton with Geraint Thomas.
Well, you might just spot on the back of Romain Bardet there, Phil. He's got the red numbers on, not a surprise. He was the most aggressive rider of yesterday's stage, and the French were very, very happy with his performance, and the French finished in first and second place. Pierre Rolland was the second place rider.
As we continue to wind our way down here, this is the chateau of Our Lady of Beaurepaire. And it was supposedly built by the will of the Virgin. The material is said to have appeared on site of their own accord.
Originally built in 1862, but the oratory was rebuilt in 1760 with the addition of a few extra meters to make it look rather beautiful as it is. Inside there is a deception and a trick of the eye deception in the paint, the stained glass
Geraint
windows.
Thomas, sorry, Paul. This is Geraint Thomas here. We've just caught up with Barguil, and Dylan Van Baarle has just got on after his little ride through the grass. It looks as though they're still chasing, though. They haven't got on yet.
Not quite, but they're still looking at around 20-30 seconds off the back of the yellow jersey group, who have obviously slowed down a fraction and giving Romain Bardet another day of aggression. He really endeared himself to the French crowds yesterday, coming across Rigobert Urán. He's the man who really started the attack. They're coming away from where the cloudburst happened a few moments ago, and as they get down into the valley, well, the road surfaces now are dry. Yeah, well, once they drop down into the valley here and get themselves away from this first climb of the day, they'll go into the little town of La Chambre, or the Room, and that's where they'll then line up for about 30 kilometers of flat along the valley. They'll go through the sprint point in Épierre, through to Saint-Remy-en-Maurienne, and then into Saint-Étienne-de-Quin, and that's where they will then start the next climb, the big climb of the day, the 22.4 kilometer climb of the Col de la Croix de Fer, which is in fact the longest climb of the Tour de France at 22.4 kilometers. So there's the yellow jersey, just looking a little bit further back, Wout de Poels. is in that group. Joaquim Rodriguez, the leader of the King of the Mountains competition, and there is Geraint Thomas just getting onto the back of this group with Warren Barguil. I think he can now breathe a little bit of a sigh of relief. All, I think, Phil, caught out by the severity of the attacks right from the word go.
Well, he's got about 30 kilometers to recover right now, because that's when we start the climb of the Col de la Croix de Fer. Leopold Koenig also here as he continues. Still a bit of racing to go for him, but they might recover this one. Very lucky they've got this valley road before we start the whole climbing for the day.
Yeah, 30 kilometers of valley road, Phil, once they go through La Chambre till they get to Saint-Étienne-des-Quines, and that is where the climb of the Col de Glandon or the Col de la Croix de Fer actually starts, and that is a beast.
Well, this guy's one of the best descenders in the world, I think, so this is how you should do it.